John. I'm just making a little video while watching the Artcasters because I want to try out some different kind of inking. Having looked back at pages I've done in the last couple of months, I find that I'm putting my finger where it hurts, like where I now see that my art is lacking. But it's one of those intuitive things where like I can tell that I've leveled up because I can see the mistakes, but at the same time I don't quite have the solution how to work on it. So let's see if we can come up with some kind of fix and put ourselves through our paces in the new year coming up, while reminiscing a little bit about the year that has been. If you're a recent subscriber, you might be wondering like, hey, but what happened to the travel vlog and your trip through Southeast Asia? Well, we can't be going on trips all the time. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of this channel, to show you the development of little old me as an artist. And that is what we're going to double down on this episode. This is really frustrating. Having left behind the tropics and coming to terms with winter here in Catalonia has left me bedridden occasionally with a sketchbook in hand, and Saturday morning cartoons replaced by all sorts of wonderful art tutorials on YouTube. From the odd anatomy lesson, figure drawing, to two-point perspective. This episode is all going to be about how I'm going to improve in the next year. So if you're ready, and strap yourselves in, because this is going to be a long episode, I think. I'm just going to ramble on and draw and try out some new things. I think one of the things I do wrong is thinking about this now and talking to you about it is I'm actually inking most of the lines as if I'm penciling, and so I'm building it up. Sometimes this is to good effect and sometimes not so much. I should have thought it through a little bit more in pencil. Maybe. Let's find out. So in the meantime, as you may have noticed, I'm in a different space. I've got myself a different room in the house. So I've got a new desk. It's a glass desk. And getting really fed up with sitting all day long at the office, and then when I come home I sit some more. It's very tiring, I find, especially when I come home. Like, I'm so beat, so I want to sit down, but then nothing comes out of me until like 2 hours later, where I seem to wake up again after, you know, having dinner and all that. So I went through the house and found the box for the microwave. And so lo and behold, it is just the right height with this little wooden plate shelf on it. So yeah, I think this is how I am going to be working on my art. And so I've got, also had to organize all my materials. So I've got a box of microns that are mostly used. I just bought some new ones. I still have my stack of art, and I've got this ink, and I've got paint, and I've got a couple of brushes I need to clean. I've got a toothbrush that I can use to, you know, splatter with. I just want to try out some different things with ink, like not just using a quill, which I'm also very excited about because it's been a while. And there are certain things I notice I'm trying to mimic the effects that you get with quills using the Staedtler microns type pen. And so I spent a lot of time doing something that I would do in a single stroke with that one. Like building up these lines to get this effect. So I can't bring this to work, because that would just be an accident waiting to happen at my desk at work. But I can definitely use these more at home. And then I also thought, like, well, there's all this ink wash or something, whatever they call it, that a lot of artists on Instagram use to great effect. And that would allow me to use some pencils on top. I've also got some white markers, which I've never been able to use properly, and I think it's because the paper I tended to use before is really for sketching, and it's too absorbent, so the white ink just goes into the paper. You don't see it, it don't stays on top. But now that I've got some Bristol, and some really thick Bristol as well, smooth, I think this will work just nicely on top of the ink, so I'm gonna try that out. Got a rough brush right here that I'm very excited about using to get just some brush work. And yeah, I want to try out that ink wash, like mixing ink with water and getting some grays, and just seeing how I can make my pinups stand out a little bit more in a way that others have done so on Instagram, you know, to advertise my commissions. Could be fun, because I'm not quite ready for coloring, because I've only got pencils. I've got nothing else to color with. But also I'm just so excited about inking. Oh wait, I've got another one. Let's not forget about this one. Let's try out some inking, shall we?
Right next to me to say the very first book I ever made.
Whoa.
And it got picked up, and they were totally shocked. I mean, it really depends on who's reviewing it. Their staff changes constantly. So like when people are hungry for answers like that, you know, there could be one answer this month.
Freedom. What is this? Oh look, I'm being completely ridiculous, but hey, first person yawn. All right, I also need glasses because I can't even look at the screen at this distance from my face, because my eyesight is clearly going. All right, let me just have a quick look at my, let's put this over here. So, is this gonna work? Let's see. I just wanted to try out this brush. Should I add water into one of the other ones? Let's see what happens. Well, so far, so good. So if I just get a little ink from the side. That could be interesting. So now the thing is, how can I clean this brush, right? Right, so suppose this one is right here, so we might as well give that a go. One thing I love about drawing with quills is, I mean, it's really like you can go from like 0.1 to, you know, that's just crazy. Put that one there. So I guess we can kind of imagine what this one is going to do right here. Or can we? I suppose we shouldn't just assume. Wow, that's just awesome. Okay, I put a lot of ink on. The thing I'm really curious about is like, I do something like this and then, you know, grab one of these. I can already see how it's not quite that dark anymore. So I'm just coming back from my my little breakfast. Found a new little place to grab a coffee and a croissant. Always good on a Sunday morning. So last Sunday, I got to be on Marshall Lee Donkey Job Project's stream, his holiday special, along with CB Smallwood and Adam Lohr. I'm not forgetting anyone, I hope. And so we talked a little bit about our year in review and how we intend to improve things. So I thought I'd give you, if you haven't seen that one, of course, you should check out Marshall's Early Bird Cast, in which he always has other people, other comic book creators on. They're really awesome little shows to watch along while you're drawing. But so I thought I'd give you a little bit of of what's happening in the last couple of months now that I'm back in Barcelona and I'm done with all my wonderful travels through Southeast Asia. So what's been happening? So let's talk about the comic book first. So I'm working on Phosphor as always. I've just made a drawing of one of the characters actually, and Phosphor has not been coming along as much as I've been wanting to, because I thought I'd be finished last summer, and I thought I'll finish before the end of the year. And now I'm at the halfway point, and I've completely like fallen off the wagon, so to speak. And that being said, I kept on drawing, and I'm at this funny point where I'm having issues with my art and I want to improve. But most of all, what I want for the next 6 months is to work a hell of a lot faster and get the comic book finished, and not just this comic book finished, get more comic books finished, and send off sets of pages in for submissions, like I said on last week's stream with Marshall. So how are we going to do that? We're going to be trying out different techniques. We're going to be trying out different ways of drawing, inking, with a clear eye on improving my art, but also with a clear eye on improving speed. There's always the 3 points of interest that seem to come up when I listen in on shows about creating comic books and being a comic book artist, or an illustrator in general, I should say. And those three are, quality, speed, and price. So you have to hit 2 out of 3. So I've completely failed on speed in the last 6 months. I think the quality is there. Now I have issues with my art from the last 6 months because I have leveled up, and this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. Like, I don't want to complain about my art. I'm very happy with what I've done so far, but I want to improve, so I'm kind of like half there on quality from my own point of view. But as an artist as a whole, like the quality has just been steadily rising, so I'm happy. And then there's so speed, no. Quality, yes. Price, well, if you want to command a high price, then you better deliver on the quality or the speed. So you have to get 2 out of 3. And so when it comes to pricing, I've only just started pricing my art again by putting myself out there for doing commissions, as you may have noticed if you follow this channel, and putting stuff up on eBay. So I've been putting up stuff like some of the pieces that I've been showing that I've been doing as commissions, or examples for commissions. I've been putting them up for sale. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check the links down below. And yeah, so I'm kind of like trying to see what is the right price for someone of my quality or like artistry level. To kind of get a little feedback going and not be afraid of either not selling or being rejected. Like if I submit my work to, I need to know what my work is worth, if people are interested in it, and if not, maybe what I can do to garner interest. Like, do I need to raise my profile online to get people to notice me more, or do I simply maybe choose a different subject matter? Because right now I'm drawing a lot of superheroes, and I've noticed that my Instagram followers have just been dropping, because there's clearly a lot of people who've watched me draw faces and figures, but not superheroes, and they're not into that, which is fine. That's cool. But I do love drawing those guys and girls. So yeah. This is kind of where I'm at. I've taken a lot of notes from the last week's episode of the Artcasters, and I made a lot of notes from what I was talking about during that holiday special with Marshall and Adam and C.B. Smallwood, to just really, drive this home. Like, this is how I'm gonna go forward in 2019. More art all the time, different techniques. Get comic books out as quickly as possible. I've already got 2 lying right here that I'm not going to show you yet because I'm waiting for Marshall, and then we're gonna present these together, I hope, and continue working on phosphor. So this is something I just drew in the kitchen while cooking. It's a little example of how I want to improve fast, try out different things, and just kind of break out of my routine of drawing lots of faces and things for my comic book. When in lack of inspiration and ideas, just draw whatever's around you. So, kitchen it was. Speaking of lack of inspiration, I'm drawing what's around you. I'm just gonna make another one really quickly. Where's my pen? Where did I put you? Lost my pen already. So one of the psychological effects of coming up with lists, and I guess I haven't mentioned that yet, so I should just talk about that right now. So wanting to improve as quickly as possible, I thought of a list of have you drawn ? And then just a whole checklist of random things that I most likely have not drawn. Like, for example, a car being towed away, an airplane. I mean, I may have drawn an airplane, but there's different kinds of airplanes. I'm sure I can find one that I haven't drawn, and I'm sure it's been a while. So there's something to draw. The building I live in, and this is kind of what led me to perspective again. It's a practice perspective right here. The building I lived in. So I already took some pictures this morning after my walk of buildings and the surroundings and just stuff around me to draw. But I also thought of like, well, I draw people a lot, but when was the last time I drew a kissing couple? That's something you might come across in a comic book. When was the last time I drew something like somebody being punched in the gut? May seem a bit odd to want to draw that, but then I bought a comic book the other day and there was plenty of fighting in it. So when was the last time I actually drew that? Do I know how to draw that from the top of my head? Could I make it up? When was the last time I actually looked up reference? Coming back to what I was saying earlier about this psychological effect. It has this kind of Pokemon effect on me where I very quickly come up with lots of lists and I have to catch them all. Like, I just want to work my way down these lists, and I don't think this is a bad thing, but it presents its own danger, if you will. Its own distraction in its own right. So this is very much going to be the kind of list that I keep in my back pocket for when I don't know what to draw. You know, I'm stuck. It's like, I can't be stuck because I've got this whole list that is kind of fun and exciting. And of course, the list should not distract from making comics. If anything, should be added to and subtracted from according to whatever it is I will be drawing for a comic book. For example, I want to draw more comic book pages a week, right? Along with Marshall, we started on a little side project to do just that. And it's, what are we going to draw? Well, we very quickly came up with just a fun, silly little story based on nothing more than us being at work. We very quickly come up with all sorts of things that need to be on the page that we tend not to draw. And so that is then, of course, going to take priority. But here's the list I just quickly put together today. Maybe it's a good idea for you yourself when you look at this, like maybe I should make a list. But it's just something for in the background to be toiling away on to help me improve faster and moving more and more into what I need to be able to draw and that I am not comfortable drawing. Interiors, perspective, you know, the stuff that fills comic book pages. And so it comes to an end, this little ramble or New Year's resolution show. I hope you guys enjoyed the artwork. Let me know what you think. Your comments and feedback are always appreciated. And yeah, I'll be seeing you hopefully next week. Let's see what kind of footage I can scrape together as I try and draw as much as possible and get back to you with another episode of SketchaLona, in Barcelona. And if you have any good New Year's resolutions you'd like to share with us, then feel free to write them down below. Before I forget, Happy New Year.